Thank you for joining us today for the webinar on test anxiety. I'm Jeff Prime, one of the LALAR counselors, and I'm joined with Sarah Maddock. Looking at test anxiety, you have the cognitive piece, which is our mind, our ability to think. And what happens when test anxiety kicks in, you create a difficulty in concentrating. You go blank. You're sitting there looking at a question and you go blank. I can't recall that information. My thoughts didn't start racing. I'll never be successful. I won't survive this. And that's called your negative thoughts, or that negative talk about the worrying, the predicting negative outcomes. It's harsh self-talk. It becomes almost harmful in many ways. The physiological aspect of test anxiety is, the headache, the stomach ache, sweating, upset stomach, increased heart rate, tightness in your chest, fast breathing. All of these are things that can be considered what are triggers, or will alert you to the fact that you're now in a heightened test anxiety mode. And what Sarah and I hope to do is to bring some of that down for you and get rid of some of that.
So a breathing technique that's helpful is breathing in through your nose for a count of 4 and breathing out through your mouth for a count of 8. You can also breathe in for 8, hold for 4, and breathe out for 8. And I recommend doing this. I have a degree in social work, and we also have to do a licensing exam, much like the NCLEX. And one of the professionals who oversees the exam talks about how every 20 questions you should take a pause and do some deep breathing exercises before continuing on. So I think that's a good skill to use during your HESIs or during any of your even just Canvas exams. Just every 10 questions or every 20 questions, however long the test is, just take a pause, make sure to do some deep breathing, clear your head. It allows more oxygen into your body, which can lower your heart rate, and it'll help you stay focused in the exam and not let that test anxiety just take over that entire allotted time that you have.
In negative talking, everything becomes a catastrophe. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the answer. What will I do? How will I survive? So we make a big catastrophe out of it. That whole negative talk convinces us we can't succeed or can't process the information needed. It's all or nothing. Either I do it all perfectly or I'm a complete failure. But guess what? You can't do it perfectly without some level of failure. So failure is a step into perfection. That's one of the things to remember in anxiety, because anxiety brings us that failure is the ultimate. It is not. Success is the ultimate. Failure is just one learning process toward that success. Learning how to rethink and learning how to rework the wording in your thoughts will bring you to success. Mind reading. I am certain of their thoughts and motivations. Everybody around me is thinking this. Are they? Or are you in an anxiety state, in an anxious state that you're interpreting what they say in a negative way because your mind is in a negative spot? The blame game, the shoulds, the woulds, the coulds, shoulda, woulda, coulda. If I shoulda, if I woulda, if I coulda, it wouldn't have happened. Really? If my tire is going to go flat, it doesn't really matter whether I take the shortcut to where I'm going or the long route to where I'm going. My anxiety might say, if you take this route and you take this turn, you take that turn, you'll be safe. But is it really any safer than going the best route? That's part of what we do. We create this whole blaming, the woulda, shoulda, couldas, and that's what leads us into the next one, the shoulds and the musts. Should is a blaming word. I should know that answer. The real answer is, I know that answer. Let me find a way to recall the correct information. Again, it's changing our wording and being conscious in that cognitive piece of what we're saying, how we're saying it, when we're saying it, and why we're saying it. I know it sounds really complicated, but once you start doing the exercise that Sarah talked about, you'll learn that it's not as complicated as it seems. You begin to break down the pieces. The emotional reasoning, I feel so bad. I can't succeed. Is that true? What have you already succeeded at in your life that you can prove to you that you have more than enough capability and capacity to make the success come to life? Do you drive down the road and make it to the store without having an accident? Well, there's a success. Did you pass one test, but now you're in another test and you're panicked? Well, what was your mindset when you took a test and you passed it? Grab onto those positive experiences, because once you learn to lead your life by experience, you know that you can overcome anything.